Chicka bow wow.
Hello. Thanks for traveling with us. We'll be approaching Elmer's world soon. Buckle in, Dale and Pat will be right with you.
Yeah, won't we though? Can you hear me, Dale?
I can. I'm here.
Oh, I feel sorry for you.
What was cool?
The intro. That was cool.
Oh, okay.
You like
Justine
it?
likes the intro.
You like it, huh? So do I. Wait till you see the movie I put together with that song. I haven't done it yet, but we'll get there. All right, what's going on there, Mr. Dale?
Absolutely nada. Enjoying my day off work. We're hitting the slow season, so I get a little more time off and just trying to enjoy my little breaks. And then when I get to work, it's generally not that busy, so I'm not working overly hard or anything like that. I just, kind of have to be there and do my thing and feed what little masses show up.
Yeah.
But, it's all good.
Doing all right here, too. I'm doing a lot of computer work. Almost too much. I actually found some stuff today that I had forgotten I even had. I had some funny clips and stuff like that. I have about probably 12 or 13 gigs worth of stuff on these machines that I have. And I haven't really sorted any of it out before now. It's been about 10 years. I was finding files on here from 1999. That's doing something when you can talk about something.
Hey, I know a couple kilobytes you can get rid of.
What's that?
That damn picture of me.
Yeah, well,
that'll clear up at least 120 or so kilobytes.
Yeah.
Well,
find me something else to use, and we'll put it on.
Well, I will. If I have to have a special picture taken, I will replace that ugly SOB.
Stuff happens.
Yeah,
Anyway, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our little Elmer's World show. Good to see you and good to have you here. If you're listening on any of the platforms that we broadcast to, you might actually be able to find a chat room on one of them. And when that chat room will actually have the ability to talk to us over the internet and via the chat. So I've got everything is working now. I have all the chat rooms available, so text your heart out, I guess. Try to see where that text thing is. That's it.
Sure. Ask questions.
Yeah, if you have any questions, you want to get all of them. It's easy to do.
Why not?
Anyway, tonight's show, I was going to do, I don't remember because we had to cancel the last show because it was crashing all over the place. I don't remember if we did the amateur radio on the cheap, building a station cheaply, or if it and there was another one. Why be a ham radio operator? I decided to put those aside just in case. I'll probably use the clips down the road.
Yeah, I'll go back and look at the last couple we did.
Yeah.
And see if topics came up, and then let you know.
I don't think we used them, to be honest, but after.
I'm pretty sure we went about the radios because, like I said, I clearly remember talking to you about the walks-on radios and different things like that, and how to, just get started cheaply until you find your niche and what you really want to do with ham radio. Then you spend your coin.
Yeah. Well, the way tonight's topics are going to be a little on the different side. These you don't really. The first one you don't really have to have a license to do. The second one, well, you have to have at least a technician license. One of them, the first one's going to be on hidden noises that come out of radios from certain places. There was a big to-do done about 2 or 3 years ago about these signals that were emanating from Russia. And nobody knows where they're at. They can't seem to locate them. And it's kind of strange, but you'll see that when we get there. You can monitor these frequencies, and you don't even have to. If you have a shortwave monitor, you'll be able to see and hear what they sound like. They are still, although this article I got's a couple years old, they are still on the bands, and nobody seems to be able to find them. Then again, that's because we're.
Well, if you have the frequencies, so people can hear them, but they can't tell where they're coming from.
Yeah, that's true. They can.
What you think?
They've tried to DF these things a couple times.
Okay.
By DFing, I mean direction finding.
I want to actually write down these frequencies so I can go play around and, see if I can hear something.
You don't really have to have a license to listen to most of this. Although the second topic we're going to talk about is talking to the International Space Station. That is going to be coming up here next or after the first talk. I got on a kick. This is kind of one of those things when you're a ham radio operator. A lot of times you stumble into this stuff, and being that I've been doing this show off and on since 2005, I think. No, I take that back. It would have been about 2018 or 19 was when we ran the last batch of these. And you stumble across certain things as you're looking for material to actually show on a podcast like this, and you think, maybe I should look a little further into that. Well, this is going to actually give you something to really put your little radio on and see if you can hear it. I know what I was gonna do. Next week we will probably be talking about the spark gap transmitter that I think it's over in CERN. Is it Australia or something like that? But we're going to take I've got a clip on that. I'm going to have to dig up that explains what that is. That's they only transmit this on this thing once or twice a year, and it will show you what CW sounds like or what the first CW sounded like, because this thing was put in place as one of the only vintage things that are left. You know, everything got smaller and more combined. This is a big old spark gap transmitter, and it's pretty cool watching it. Anyway, let's we can hit a video first if you want to. What do you think?
Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good. Because you piqued my interest with this Russian stuff.
Okay, let's go do it first. Like I said, these things are coming out of Russia and other parts of Europe, and they're really kind of interesting stuff. You'll just get to see that in here in a minute. You're watching the Elmer's World. I got distracted by the dog. You're watching Elmer's World. We'll be right back after this clip.
This month I've spent quite a few evenings in the shack monitoring the shortwave bands for the seemingly endless occurrences of interesting signals emanating from the Russian Federation. There's been jamming, music, propaganda and all sorts of unusual signals out there lately, so let me give you a rundown of October's shortwave oddities. The buzzer, which I won't go into in any great detail because there's a whole load of videos in the description, has been the victim of trolling again. The evening of October the 10th saw the buzzer on 4625 kHz being trolled by a warbling digital type noise. These trolling and jamming attempts don't seem to affect the buzzer at all, and certainly don't overpower its huge signal. Take a listen. The 20th of October saw the buzzer trolled again by a music player. The music didn't overpower the signal, but both were strong and clearly audible over here in the UK. Slightly further up the band on 4675 kHz, the home of a secondary Russian channel marker that seems to change between a pip-type signal and a second buzzer, was another musical piece. This occurred on the evening of October the 11th. No channel marker was audible and the music was quite weak here at my station. The evening of October the 24th saw plenty of action back on the buzzers channel, of which I managed to capture some waterfall recordings from the Dutch SDR. First I caught the buzzer transmitting as normal. There was some sort of Morse ident in the background which we'll come to soon. People were trying to draw images in the waterfall, but not successfully. Then the buzzing stopped and was replaced by what appeared to be some sort of STANAG type signal. STANAG is a NATO HF radio technical standard for text-based radio broadcasts. The buzzing then resumed with a Morse ident shortly after. I thought the STANAG was being transmitted over the buzzer, but when some of the transmissions ended, the buzzing didn't resume for a while. It could be that whoever sends the buzzer was sending the STANAG, or the buzzer was switched off while the STANAG transmission was taking place. Later on, someone appeared to be sending letters on the buzzer's transmissions. I couldn't work out what these meant or if there was any significance. The buzzer was also interspersed with some other digital sort of tone later on. This back and forth between buzzing, STANAG and the digital tone continued for an hour or so, but what interested me was the Morse code sequence, which I managed to translate, but while some of the characters are numbers, others don't appear to mean anything. I'm no expert in Morse code, so any help would be appreciated. By 10:30 PM, the buzzer was back to normal. I haven't heard STANAG, the other digital mode, or Morse code on the buzzer's frequency before, and these transmissions appear to be emanating from the source of the buzzer itself, which is really interesting. And finally, October the 11th saw some action on the Russia-Ukraine propaganda channels, which I've covered before. I'll link the video below. I couldn't get a translation for this, but somebody informed me that it contains bad language, so I'm sorry if it offends anyone. This isn't the intention. It's purely an insight into what's going on in the world of shortwave. Because I don't know what's being said other than the word Putin quite clearly, I'll just play some short snippets. The audio being sent was clearly pre-recorded, which is clear in this recording. I hope you enjoyed this insight into October's shortwave oddities, and if you'd like to support the channel, then why not consider hitting the join button. Either way, keep your ear close to the shortwave dial, and I'll catch you in the next one.
All right. Now, isn't that something? Kind of a song, one of those things that make you go, wonder why they're doing that.
Yeah, most of it sounds like, I mean, it's not necessarily malicious because it's just noises and stuff like that, but is it a test to see if they can disrupt radios in general? I mean, I don't know how in the hell you would hit every single station to just shut down, radio waves, but it is intriguing.
There are times where, first of all, let me talk about that pattern for a second. I'm going to take and run this back, so please forgive me. I want to actually show you what I'm talking about. Where do I do that, though? I got to go back. Oh, no, I can't do that because I don't have the audio fed to it. Anyway, if you look at that stuff, there's a little bit of a pattern there. And then when it was on that waterfall, that signal was massive. It was almost carrying. It looked like about 3K as far as width. That's a lot of bandwidth, and especially for being on that band. The other thing that I kind of wonder about is, could this be a way of sending messages to spies?
Well, when the letters pop up and stuff like that, that could be, and then the Morse code option, whatever that, he said he was going to tell us what that Morse code said, which he said was basically nothing. But if you're a spy, numbers and letters and different things mean something to you. I get it. I get it.
Yep, I kind of think that there could be something like that there. It's Russia and them's, even the United States has been known for jamming signals like that. In fact, we had there was an actress by the name of Hedy Lamarr that actually invented something for the spy trades. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
What she invented, what they call the spread spectrum, which is usually used around 2.4 gig. And what it does is it doesn't sit on any frequency for any length of time buzzing. You might have a buzz over here, and it jumps up here, and it's back down, and it goes all over the place. And it, to me, you got to wonder what that, what the meaning behind this could actually be.
Well, I would think, me being, if I'm a government and one of my biggest threats is the United States of America, they're looking to create weapons. They're looking to do this. Everybody's looking to one up somebody. So it could be like test stuff going out there. If we can figure out what channels, say the United States Navy is using can we use this technology to block their communications? And I think it's just throwing out feelers, trying to, and I imagine, you're not hearing about it, but I imagine there's shit going on elsewhere where the United States is doing the same shit. Because you want to figure out how to, the biggest thing, if you can't talk to each other, how can you defend yourself against us?
Yep.
So, all the governments are looking into these things. So I could see it.
Yeah, I could too, especially in the world like it is today. 40, 50 years ago, it would have had a whole different meaning than it does now, because you would probably be right thinking it was something that was broadcasting instructions to a major a major spy ring in this country.
But it still could be.
And
it still could be.
It really could be.
Listen, we've had, look at the attackers that have gotten into this country, whether they be, Muslim or anything else. I'm just bringing up that term because that's what's happened in recent years. There had to be a mode of communication, and there had to be a way for them to get in, and there had to be a way for them to communicate without people knowing that they were communicating. So that's how they, some of them were able to escape through the system. Because I know on our other show we talk about how the borders got wide open with Joe Biden, but we're going back, years before that. Bad people were getting into this country, even with the borders being closed.
Precisely.
Somewhat. So, there's got to be a means of communication, and there has to be something going on there.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything different.
If you go back to even 9/11, I think
right,
the week before that all happened, there was a bunch of stuff that they picked up on. Didn't know what it was at the time. It was internet chatter and stuff like that. And then after that, all hell broke loose, and that was when they started. They were going to block that Israeli newspaper. What the hell was the name of that thing? But anyway, you got to wonder if that's how some of the information for it came through. I know, like I said, with the spread spectrum, it's communications, except it doesn't stay in one place. The transmitter varies, and you got to be locked on the other side, and then you'll be able to hear it. Nobody else can. But, they even do that now with power supply homes. They take and you can click on the one of the features in your computer motherboard that does spread spectrum to the power. It varies the buzz on it, so you effectively get rid of all the noise. It's something to think about, You got to wonder, did this actually? Is this actually happening, and what is it? And with me, when I first heard of this stuff, I got I got so involved with it, I decided I'd do as much research on it as I could. And there was 2 or 3 variations, but it all came down to about the same thing. It was probably somebody transmitting information for a spy, or for a network or something. Kind of strange world. But
No, not really. If you look at the way the times have gone, it's like if you were trying to cheat and send information to nefarious characters, everyone has their eye on the internet, and everything is watched pretty much with a microscope. You have somebody wears a dress that somebody doesn't like, and you have like 9 million comments about this actor's dress on the red carpet or whatever else. People are in tune with the internet. They're not paying attention to the radio bands. So if you wanted to sneak in somewhere and send some information, where else do it than there? Because then it's going to be, oh, you're just a fucking nerd. I don't believe what you're saying. Yeah, that didn't happen. Yeah, you didn't hear nothing. Blah, blah, blah. Who in the hell would talk? If the Russians, you think they would talk on the radio? They would have this and that, and they would talk to their spies personally, and blah, blah, blah. Well, no, it's the perfect network for them to do it without people knowing.
Yep. Another thought just popped up with me. You made a comment about using it against somebody back on September 10th of 2001. They didn't think anybody had ever use an airplane against us either. But look what happened the 11th.
But yeah, it's like, don't look at, if you think about it, yes. I know many people that are dealing with amateur radio, but it's a small subculture in comparison to the people that use the internet and telephones and other means of communication. So that is where the focus is. So if you were, like I said, trying to slide in some code or something like that, amateur radio is your perfect, resting place to do so.
Yeah, to a point, I believe.
It's like nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Just some buzzing going on. Well, that buzzing could mean something.
Yep.
Nobody knows.
Even when you go into watching some of these TV flicks, I'm going to bring up one that I watch all the time, and that's the Skinwalker Ranch. If you looked at some of those radio frequencies where they're seeing different activity when they do the stuff that they're doing out there, I got to the point where I wanted to hear what because they tried to say it was a digital communication, which makes sense. But I wanted to hear it to see if I could distinguish if it's FT8, if it's PSK 31, if it's PSK 30 or 64, anything like that. That would actually, of course, they're not going to tell you that because that would probably end the show. But when it does come down to that stuff, maybe they're doing it that way too. Maybe the aliens are coming and doing it.
Well,
yeah,
it's not part of ham radio, but
there's
one day you and I, maybe later or whatever else, need to talk about this Atlas 3 whatever blah 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 that nobody can figure out whether it's a comet or a ship. I see other things, and I can't tell what's AI generated and what isn't. I mean, because it's like, really? There's like tens of thousands of ships moving at us all lined up. I mean, I got to feel that's AI because I've seen plenty of it just in reference to the government shutdown and shit that they've, but that, to be plain, there is something moving towards Earth, or the sun, toward the sun, I mean, or the Earth, whatever. They ain't been able to figure it out, but it's speeding up, it's slowing down, it's doing all kind of crazy things. You have lights emitted from it. You have all this other, nonsense going on. What the hell is it?
Good question.
But yet, nobody wants to say nothing. Because, well, you don't want to create a panic. I get it.
Yeah, I do too.
But, what is it?
That, my friend, is a $64 question. What is it? I've read some stuff on it since it actually passed Earth going towards the sun, and it got dangerously close to the sun but didn't run into it. And then I guess now it's coming back this way. They don't know when it's going to arrive here or whatever, if it's going to arrive. You see so much as garbage on these
right. It's like, what do you believe?
Platforms. It's hard to believe any of it.
That's part of, like last night we were talking about AI. That's kind of like where, I have a problem. It's like, well, what do I believe and what I don't? What is some bullshit you made on your computer just to fuck with people, and what is the truth? It gets complicated.
Yep. The more
but yeah, that's not ham radio related, so I'll shut that down. But I just thought I'd bring it up.
I've always
went along with what we were talking about, kind of.
I've always been one that I believe that we can't be the only ones in this whole galaxy or whatever. We can't be. There's too many specifications that are wrong. I think your law of averages wouldn't work out that well. Yeah, saying that there's nobody there, but you never know. Anyway, let's lighten this up a little bit. I did want to make a couple mentions here. We actually did my club did a license test last Saturday, and I can't go into any real details, but we had 2 people passed the test. They are now technicians, and of course they got to wait for the license. And one of them aced the test. They're very impressed with that guy. But he told me, he said, I've been playing around with GMRS and all that for a number of years. He actually has a GMRS license. But it kind of makes you, when you do a test like that, it makes you kind of sentimental towards the world, towards the hobby. I feel really good about getting somebody into it. I've Elmered a number of people too, and those people have went on to make great amps. Just the way it is. But when you do stuff like that, that makes this hobby worth it. Some of the stuff when you first get in with a technician class test, you're doing all right. Each time that you pass a license grade, you're going to have that much more to study. And personally, I took my time between getting my getting my tech license as opposed to getting my general. The general was a little bit harder than the. It was a little bit harder than the technician test was, but to see somebody ace it like that, that's a rare guy there. The other thing about that too, we've had people come into our tests that I can remember only 3 people out of all the years I've been testing, which was started in 2007. We started once we got to the end of the start of it, you get kind of, you think, wow, that guy's really got it together. And I've only seen 3 people out of that whole time that actually went from what we call the zero to hero syndrome. In other words, he starts out with no license and takes 3 tests, and he gets his extra. That is doing something there. But, that's
a push. That's a push.
And I didn't want to do it that way, to be honest. I wanted to learn the hobby, and if I would have taken and made that extra jump, even within a year, I wouldn't have learned anything of what I've learned, or what I learned as I went through the process and actually gained on the radios. Well,
I guess with what you're saying, I would be a prime example, because I was a person that jumped in gung ho.
Yeah.
Remember, when I took my first test, I passed the technician and the general. And within a month or so, I had my extra. And then I'm like, okay, I've done this. I've fulfilled this. What can I do next? And then I said, oh, okay, I'm become a double RL, VE, and got that, and just everything just boom, 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 boom. And if you look at, the different things I still fall back to the just roots of the radio instead of really looking into the new modes that are out there with radio and stuff like that, and seeing what I can do with it. So, I'm a prime example. I didn't give myself time to learn different aspects as I moved up. I just, boom, went in, full rush and just did it.
In my experience with all the learning and that, I've learned as far as myself, I'm a hands-on guy. And if I don't have the time, I can read something till I'm blue in the face, and I won't grasp it. But put that thing in my hand, let me play around with the way it works and what you can hear and that kind of, I'm all for that. I can knock it dead. And that's the reason that I waited as long as I did. Plus, I was a CBer for 30 years. And by the end of that, I had enough of HF talking. We did a lot of that on 11 meters. And it got, I won't say it got boring, but it just got old quick. And once I was able to grasp it and actually see the difference between a CB USB radio and an actual ham radio in the same place. Ham is much, much better. And I never thought I'd say that. If you would ask me right before I took the test what I thought, I would be nowhere close to it. anyway, we got this other video that I've been wanting to show. So being it looks like we got about 15 minutes left, more or less. Why don't we go ahead and buzz through this one and we'll see what we got left after that. The idea of this came to me because I did I actually talked to the International Space Station through a repeater, and it was remarkably cool. I talked to some. When you have to understand on a satellite pass like that, you've got a maximum of 6 minutes, and a lot of the passes are even shorter than that, till it fades out into the distance again. And during that 6 minutes, that International Space Station's repeater is log jammed usually. But I ended up making a contact to a telescope place in Nebraska, and it's pretty cool. So let me. I think this will explain a little bit more what we're doing. So let's take a look at this, and we'll be right back. Hang with us. You're watching the radio, or I almost did it again. You're watching the Elmer's World. We'll be right back.
Today what I'm doing is I'm going to try and contact the ISS, or the International Space Station. It's just about to fly overhead. I'm just watching it here on the tracker. It's not too far away, and there's actually a crossband repeater on board. They use a Kenwood TM-D710GA, I think, radio, which is on board, and that serves various different purposes, but most of the time there is an actual crossband repeater switched on for use, and you can talk via it, which is pretty cool. So I'm using my Kenwood TH-D72 today, and I'm also using here my Arrow antenna, and this is a cross-polarized Yagi antenna, 3 elements on 2 meters and 7 elements on 70 centimeters. When I say cross-polarized, just the way that the elements are mounted. So it's actually fed vertical and horizontal, but you've just got to move it to wherever the best signal is, basically, that you're getting back from the satellite. So I'm going to be doing that. This antenna actually comes with a diplexer in here that can handle up to 10 watts. So there's a single connection which goes straight into my radio, and you can see here there's 2 feed points. There's one here for 70 centimeters and one here for 2 meters. So these antennas are meant for this kind of satellite work, and this Arrow antenna is very good in the fact that it is so easy to set up. So all you do is you literally just unscrew it from the boom here, and one side has a thread in it. So you've got 2 sections of one element. You just literally pass it through the boom, do it up, and you do that for all of your elements, and you're done. And what I've actually done is I've gone and I've marked on here which ones are which. So these are the reflector elements for the 2 meter side of things, and then the driven element, obviously the one with the gamma match feed point here, and then I've done the same for 70 centimeters as well, and then marked all the directors out. I've got the roll up storage pouch for it, so you just like literally unravel this, and there's spots all in here, all for the elements. So I'm going to plug it in, and we're not too far away from the acquisition of signal from the ISS. I won't see it at first because towards the south here I don't really see very too well, and the house is in the way, but when it gets up overhead then I should be able to hear some signals. On my radio I've got some channels programmed in. So I've got one channel which I transmit on, so I transmit on 145/990, and I receive on 437/800. They are the 2 frequencies for the crossband repeater. Now I've also got some channels programmed in here that are in 5 kilohertz steps because of Doppler shift. So because the ISS is moving over the top at a pretty fast speed, what is it, like 30,000 kilometers an hour or something? I probably made that up. I'll put whatever the real value is on the screen. You have to adjust for Doppler shift because as it's traveling, as it's coming up, say, over the horizon, and it's far away from you, and then as it gets closer to you and travels away, it's a little bit like listening to a horn on a car that's traveling by. It's got a different pitch or a different frequency when it's a far way away from you, and then as it gets closer to you, the frequency matches what it actually is, and then as it goes further past you, then it changes again. So the same too with the ISS. So we're just coming now into acquisition of signal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay up 10 kilohertz higher on receive here. So I'm going to start there, and then as the satellite gets pretty much overhead and the closest it is to me, then I'm going to switch to whatever the actual frequency is. So at the moment we're doing, it's about 2 degrees above the horizon. It's still, I'm not going to be able to receive it just yet. It's just my coax is getting all twisted up. Don't you love this? Trying to undo the twists out of coax. There we go. Now there is a slight tail on the repeater, so you will hear a chuff or a tail. You won't hear like a beep or an ident or anything like that. You'll just hear a tail. Usually you'll hear people talking on it because lots of people love to ka-chunk it and key it up, as they do. So we're up to 10 degrees, rapidly climbing. This is quite a long pass now. You can track the satellite. The screenshot here is from n2yo.com, so you can track a whole bunch of satellites, not just the space station. It gives you predictions as well, like 10-day pass predictions, so that you can tell when the satellite is about to come over. So we're looking at 13 degrees. It's starting to climb quite rapidly. Hopefully we start to get some signals soon. You don't need a lot of power, you only need like a couple of watts. I'm only running this on the 5-watt scale, which is more than enough to try and get into the repeater. It's pretty easy to get into. You could even do it, you don't even need an antenna like this. You could do it with just a quarter wave whip, or even just the whip off the handheld, although that might be a little bit challenging. A quarter wave whip works well because of the high radiation angle, so it's sort of looking up more towards the sky. I've got a collinear vertical here behind me, a diamond collinear vertical, which is lower in radiation, so angled, so towards the horizon. So you'll pick up the satellite very well when it's down towards the horizon, but that's not really advantageous if it's flying straight over the top of you, and that's only for a very short period of time. There it is, I just heard it key up. Oh, I just heard it again. Victor Kilo 7, Hotel Hotel on the ISS. Yeah, VK7MRS, VK7HH, yeah, you're 5'9", got you good.
Yes, all good this end, 5'9" also, over.
Yeah, good. You on your SARCnet tracker, that's working well.
Yes, roger that. Not using the Doppler, just changing the frequencies manually at the moment.
Yeah, QSL doing the same. Yeah, very good signal. I think it's right above us now.
Yes, QSL, directly above at the moment, over.
VK8. QRZ, VK7 Hotel Hotel. So it's starting to decline, and it's towards the north or northeast. VK2 HFA, VK7 Hotel Hotel, you're 5'9".
VK7 Hotel Hotel, very good copy. Name's Michael, location Sydney. You there? Hope all is well, and thanks for the copy.
Yeah, VK2, that was in Sydney. Notice I turned the Yagi horizontal then, and
Doesn't look like anybody else is on there, Hayden. VK2 HFA Sydney.
yeah, QSL, you've still got me there, Michael, over?
So Roger, I've still got you there. How's the weather in Hobart? Nice and sunny.
Yeah, Roger, nice and sunny here in Hobart. Perfect, over.
7 Hotel Hotel, VK2 Hotel Alpha.
Yeah, QSL, Michael, QSL, yeah, starting to fade, over.
So Roger, there's not a very big part over Sydney, but like you want.
Down to 10 degrees now, so we're right down on the horizon, so it's pretty quick pass. I can still key it. Can you still hear me, Michael, over? So the first station that I worked there is actually local, not too far away from me. I can't hear them direct, they're way down, probably about 20 or 30 kilometres away. So we've talked via a moving repeater that's like 400 k's above the earth. So obviously a tracker would be a lot better. Doppler, if you can correct automatically for Doppler, then it saves you having to switch channels. Make sure that you can hear first. I knew that this system worked pretty well because I tried it earlier on today. Give it a go, and I've done some other videos with the ISS. I've done the repeater before. This is actually the best sort of pass that I've ever had. If you want to see those videos, then I'll pop them up on the screen.
What'd you think?
I don't know. To me, I guess he didn't talk to the space station.
He talked through.
He had a repeater on the space station.
That's correct.
And talked to other people. You know, I was always under the impression that you would actually talk to somebody that was on the space station.
Oh, you can do that.
You were able to hit there.
You can do that, but you got to catch them on the air. And you have to have a pass that comes over top. The one couple of things there, I know if a lot of you would say, "Oh my God, he's got a ton of radio. Look at that antenna." Well, what? There ain't no way I'm going to afford an antenna like that. Now, let me tell you something straight. I don't have a beam antenna like that. I don't have it on a tower. I have a little, I have what is called a diamond antenna. It's 2 meters and 440. It's a 17-foot antenna up on my roof, and I tracked that thing with no problem. The only thing you had to do was you had to take, and when it started to fade, you had to switch 5 kc up, so because it will eventually keep going through those channels and going through those bands because of the Doppler. But if I can do this on my little radio at home, you don't have to have an extreme amount of stuff to do it.
If you notice, this guy was doing it on a fucking HT.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just a simple HT. Now, I don't know how much it cost him for that particular antenna that he had, that he was just waving around with his hands.
That thing was pretty nice. I
didn't feel that it was ridiculous or anything.
That thing was pretty nice.
Maybe $100 or something, you know. I mean, something, you know. Because, I mean, it does a lot. If it boosts the signal of an HT that much.
Well, the whole thing there is you can actually put something like that together if you have the aluminum or a source for the aluminum. How we've done that some of the tracking and that on these those little tape measure beams that we made a while back. That you know, that's the whole thing though. It's not, you don't have to have the gear he was showing. You can use your 100 watts and a wire out the window, and it's going to perform for you just like it does anything else. So don't get the idea that just because that guy's on the screen with an HT and like a quad antenna, you know, you can do it without that. I've made the last time I'm going to have to see if I can dig that up. I've got a recording of what I had when I did it. When I actually talked through the repeater. And I live in Ohio, and the usual range for FM is about 25, 30 miles maybe before you get completely out of range until you switch into a repeater. I live in Ohio, near Cleveland, and the space station was coming through. I actually got a hold of and talked to like about the same length of time that that other guy video talked. I got, I talked to a national observatory in Nebraska. That's a pretty decent shot. But, that, of course, then again, you're talking to a repeater that is roughly 20 or 30 miles up, isn't it? I'm not exactly sure where those things fly through. But, it was nothing to do it. And I just did it with the equipment that I had. The only thing that you got to watch when you're talking to or trying to talk to something like that, there's a range of about 10 frequencies that you can put in, you can program into the radio. And as the Doppler shift starts working, you just, you flip it to the net, you get to hear it as best you can. Then once it fades, you just go a channel down or a channel up, and away you'll go. That's still probably one of the more fun things I've ever done as a ham. I'd like to talk inside of it once, because the way their conversation starts, it would be like KDA YDR. Welcome to the International Space Station. And then you go back to them and talk to them for 2 or 3 minutes. That's pretty cool stuff. But that, it can be done, and that's the most fun of it. Hope you've all learned something tonight. And that's pretty much the reason we're here, is to try to help you guys out there get the most out of your HF listening and whatever radios and stuff. I'm not sure what we're going to cover next time. Any suggestions? Why become a ham radio operator, maybe? I don't know.
Sure, because I don't know if like I said, I'm going to have to go back in and take a peek at the other ones. That just seems like something we would have touched on in the beginning, but I'm not necessarily sure that we did.
I think you and I got on the air a little bit.
Because we started talking a lot about testing right from the get-go.
It started, I started going through some crashes, which I finally ended up fixing. Was a driver, the software didn't like another driver, so I ended up having to shut one of them off. But we'll probably cover something like that next time. There's still so much that we can talk about, as far as we could even go into what QSL cards are, or if FT8 is actually not cheating and communicating. I brought this up for a reason, folks. I wanted to get a little rise out of him.
I'm just saying.
And it worked because his eyes got big. But anyway.
Hey, sorry, folks. I'm a purist.
Yeah, I'll give you that much. Pure what? But we don't know. But you're.
Oh, here we go.
Anyway, it's all in fun. I like doing these kind of shows because they tell you when you first start doing classes like I've done in the past. They tell you you won't know a subject any better until you teach it or try to teach it. That teaches you everything about the subject. And I've had my fill of that stuff. I've been an amateur radio operator since June of 1991. When did you get yours?
Oh, Lord. May of, let's see, this was graded 2024, so that would be 14 because
Yeah,
I've had to read it.
That sounds about right. It's always kind of funny because I've had people, about more than half of my family is ham radio, is radio operators. You and your wife. My wife is. My deceased wife was. And people see what the kind of fun you're having and they want to join you. So we'll talk about that some other time, though. I guess we're at about.
Oh yeah, because that's if we get into that, yeah, I got stories about how I got into ham radio.
Yeah, we all have our stories.
Actually, kind of funny.
I got dared into it, and I still haven't forgiven the guy.
I didn't get dared into it. It was my fucking. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a.
Yeah, we're family related.
My bitterness got me, and then a little bit of your education along with the bitterness made me go, okay, I'm gonna go do it.
I've had that effect on people.
Well, you told me about one of the subjects of ham radio and it hit a nerve with me, and plus the bitterness, I'm like, okay, all right, let's go.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear.
But I don't want to let the cat out the bag because that would ruin the show.
Yeah, really. All right, maybe we'll talk about how we got into ham radio. We can do that next week. I got that other clip that I don't think we played, but let me know what you find out about that.
Okay.
All right, I guess we can call it a wrap then. We're at almost an hour and 10 minutes. But we know the owner, so he won't say nothing. Anyway.
That's him.
It's been fun. It's been interesting. Hope you all learned something. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. Coming up this Saturday, on the other hand, we're going to hopefully get the old boys at Four Guys on Sports going again. And then after that, we got Radioactive coming Sunday. And then Monday is we'll do our regular.
The piece de la resistance.
Yeah, the argument show. More people tune into that thing than you'd ever believe. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. We will see everybody somewhere down the road, and you'll have a good evening, morning, whatever it is when you watch this. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can always write office at crookedriverradio.com. If it's to Dale, take and put it in the message that you'd like Dale to hear this, and I'll just forward it to him. But anyway, that's about it. We will see everybody in 2 weeks here. Have a good one, and 7-3.
Take care, folks.
Oh, this damn thing. All right.
Damn thing.
Maybe this will work.
Darn it.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. See you again soon.
I'm still trying to clear some.